So the last time I reviewed the R7 was back in 2022, but a lot has changed on this bike since then, so we're gonna see if the 2026 version lives up to the expectations.
Let's get on it, turn it on, see the first impression. Alright, first impression actually is that not as high as I was expecting. It's been a while since I've been on this bike. It's got a lot of new electronics. Ooh, that is buttery smooth. That friction zone is really well tuned. Normally I'm like rubbing way higher to get going when I first start on a new bike. Okay, I may be biased because this is also the CP2 engine, same one that's on the MT07, so maybe I'm just used to it a little bit more. Trying to get used to all the buttons and stuff because the turn signals, there's like two modes. There's soft press and long press, self-canceling. I haven't gotten used to them yet. I'm keeping it in street mode for now. We're gonna hit highway a little bit later. Look, we got an MT07! I get excited whenever I see an MT07. While we're kind of stuck in traffic here, I want to give you my first impressions on the seat height because I think it's, if it's not 32.9 inches, I'll put on the screen what it actually is. It might be like slightly lower. I know this year they updated it to be like 0.5 centimeters, like 5 millimeters lower. Not a huge difference. Wow, this is really nimble. My first impressions many years ago when I got on this bike were really favorable. Really impressed with the fact that the seat height wasn't super tall back then, and back then I wasn't even wearing like the shoes I am now. I had like these sneakers on that had like a 3-inch heel, but even I am tippy-toeing. I don't have all my foot on the ground, but even now, I can get in pretty close to the bike. One thing I love is that they didn't put the foot pegs in the way of where I want to put my feet down. Sometimes Yamaha does that, and I give them grief for it, but this time they didn't do that, so I can actually get my feet in really close to the side of the bike, which is always something I point out, because if you have to straddle the bike wider than you really need to, and you're challenged on inseam, like you're a short rider, that doesn't make it easier. So if you can straddle the bike a little bit closer, it's always easier. So I'm glad that they didn't make the bike too tall. For reference, I'm 5'4". Everybody knee out. MotoGP. It's funny when you're riding in a group and the light goes green, it means it's green for everybody. There's supposed to be a soft press and a not soft press for lane changing. Let's see if I manage to get it. I got it! It's harder to do when you have gloves on. Yeah, the soft press thing, I'm not used to like when I actually press it softly enough and when I don't press it softly enough for it to cancel out in 3 seconds. Ooh. Oh my god, this thing is so flippable into the corners. This bike's doing the work for me. Like it wants to lead. Wow. Holy shit, that sound. One thing you never have to worry about is a Yamaha sounding bad. You can always tell when it's a Yamaha ripping vibe. It's got a certain something to it. I'm not a fan of screamer motorcycles, I gotta admit. So to me, this like lower growly sound that Yamaha is able to get out of the bikes is like actual music to my ears. I'm really impressed with that. That's my genuine reaction. I'm just gonna shut up now so you can hear it for a quick sec. Wow, what a treat. Beautiful scene, beautiful roads. It's really feeling great in the canyons. I think this is where this bike really shines. The Yamaha R7 Canyon Carver is what they should have called it. If they ever decide to come up with another colorway of this bike, I feel like they should make it the color of what you see in the scenery, like a sky blue with some green and camo dirt color mixed in there or whatever, and they should just call it Canyon Carver because that's what it was meant for. Like I had fun riding this thing now on the highway just to get to the canyons here, especially because they do have a cruise control on it now, something I really wish they would bring over to the MT07. But now that we're in the canyons, I like absolutely see the appeal of this bike. It feels extremely planted. Wow. It just wants to lean into the corners with you. I was going to try and change the mode to get out of street mode into sport mode, and I was really struggling to reach the button. And I don't want to say that it's a short hands problem because I think it's just an ergonomics, but like it's really far away. Like my thumb, this is as far as it goes in terms of like my glove is holding me, right? So I can't really reach the mode button easily. I have to almost let go of the throttle a little bit to do that. But yeah, reaching that mode button a little bit annoying. My thumb naturally kind of wants to go down lower there and touch there instead of higher up where they put it. So if I had to have a critique for the mode selection button, is just make it a little bit lower. Although I'm curious to see what people with big hands have to say about that. 650 Ebe is on the ride with us, so he will be a great person to ask for feedback on that. All right, so Eve, I have a question.
Yeah.
I couldn't really reach the mode button super well, but you have big hands. How do you feel about it?
See, so right
You have-
all day, I didn't have.
Oh my
problem
gosh,
with
yeah,
the
you have
ball.
no issues.
Yeah. My thumb just gets to it, just like that. Easy.
Nice. There you go, guys. That's the verdict. Yeah.
Big difference.
I'm nitpicking, okay, guys, because this is a pretty good bike as is. I think you have to try really hard in today's day and age to make a bad motorcycle, so. Nice day for a walk. That guy's got the right idea too, but also a nice day for a ride. Yeah, going over those bumps, the suspension feels great. All right, we're just finishing up with our first media stop here. Got a couple cool shots, and then we'll be on our way up the mountain. So on the ride up here, I was talking about like the suspension feel of the bike. I think it's pretty good. I don't think I have too many bad things to say about it. Typically, like sometimes it feels like I'm sitting on top of the suspension on certain bikes. It's not tuned for like, you know, 120-pound rider. Well, more with gear, but you know what I mean, out of the factory. But this one feels pretty in the sweet spot for me. I don't feel like I'm sitting on top of it, which is sometimes the case. Yeah, suspension feels good. Good to go? Beautiful little day to ride. We got a couple photo ops taking place. Gotta look cool for the camera. But I actually want to try out street because I feel like in the street mode, when you twist the throttle, it's a little bit more smooth. Like the power delivery is a little more balanced, obviously, to make it more comfortable for riding on the street, and kind of tuned a little bit more for stop-go traffic. So I think that it makes the throttle a little bit not quite as choppy. Nice little overlook here. So great spot for some photo shoots. Hitting a little gravel here and you can feel it slipping and sliding. Yeah, definitely not an off-road bike. I'll show you guys like the colorway for a second. You can see it in the sunlight because it's so beautiful and shiny. Look at this thing. Gorgeous. I mean, you already know the wheels are going to be a pain in the ass to keep clean, but kind of worth it. I'm a fan of the colored wheels on bikes. I don't know what does it for me. It's definitely giving me like that nostalgic Rossi vibe. Yamaha's made a lot of improvements to this bike since it first came out. All new electronics. We've got ride-by-wire now, cruise control modes. This thing is a proper track setup machine. You even have 4 track modes on this thing. Beautiful little bike. They also redesigned the swing arm, more stability. Back on the road. Yeah, the suspension feels great. Bike feels pretty planted to the ground. The tires they have, I think it's Bridgestone Battle Axe somethings. I don't think they're sport touring tires. I think they're sport tires, but they feel great too. But I think it's a good combo for this bike. One thing I haven't gotten really to use a whole ton yet is the bi-directional quick shifter. That's new this year. Don't believe the original bike had a quick shifter at all, but that one, it seems like the higher up you are in the RPMs, the more it wants to help you shift. So clutchless shifting there, kind of a benefit if you're trying to go a little bit longer. Good anti-fatigue. Faster shifting, better response there because of that. I am so used to riding bikes that don't have bi-directional quick shifters. I have to actively think not to pull in the clutch. So the bi-directional quick shifter doesn't come stock on the MT-07, but it does come stock on the R7. All right, let's open her up. Very good response, even in street mode. You do get a lot of punch, it's just more balanced power delivery. Yeah, very nimble to throw into corners, very lightweight on the top part of this bike. Like, you don't feel you're using a lot of weight to throw. I mean, you're not really throwing this bike into corners, it's just kind of going for you. It kind of makes it like an effortless ride, which is, I think, you know, people are saying like, blah blah blah, we want the R6. This was never meant to be an R6 replacement. This was meant to be its own category of motorcycle that doesn't, you know, start to hurt your back even as a 20-year-old after 20 minutes of riding this thing. So I think it's designed exactly for this type of riding, and it lets you go a little bit longer, be a little more comfortable. You know, unless realistically you're doing all your riding is track riding, something like this is much better for the street and for the canyon. You know, I remember back in 2021 when I first rode this bike, you know, and I was asking if it had modes. We were going through the canyons, we were doing these little switchbacks, and I was having kind of the same thoughts about it, that it feels planted in the corners, it feels easy to throw, it wants to turn with you. Let's see. Wow, that quick shifter was smooth. They're right. Around 5,000 RPM there. Beautiful, beautiful shift. Try a downshift here. Wow, wow. So typically when you downshift, you expect, like, unless you're doing a little bit of rev matching, you expect there to be a little bit of a jolt, kind of like a grunt. There was none of that, and I didn't do any rev matching there. That was all all the bike doing it for me. I think when you're looking at this bike as a whole, it's really the upgraded electronics that make the R7 what it has become. Like, this is the fully modern sport bike. Yeah, beautiful day to take the bicycles out too, but I think a more beautiful day to take the motorcycles out. Going even faster, that quick shifter is so seamless. Pretty smooth quick shifter, I gotta give it to them. A little bit jerkier at the lower speeds, but smoother higher up. The higher RPMs you are, the more smooth it becomes. Like, it's a seamless transition between gears if you're in the right rev range. I'm sure I'm probably getting a lot of wind noise here, but I think the windscreen is doing a good job kind of deflecting away from my chest here. But I am feeling it right around here, I think, is where the majority of the wind seems to be kind of hitting my camera here. Now, Yamaha's been trying different techniques to shave a little bit more weight off this bike, even though it's 1 kilo heavier than I think the previous gen, or 1 pound heavier, something like that. It's kind of negligible. They did manage to shave off 350 grams from the wheels because of their new spin forge technique. So they heat the wheels up and they spin them, and that allows them to get them a little bit thinner than they would otherwise be able to using like a cast technique. And so that lets them shave off a little bit of weight off the wheels while still maintaining the rigidity they want. I mean, I don't know exactly what that looks like because they didn't show us curves, but that's the idea behind it. All right, time to stop for some grub. 3,000 calories so far. After about an hour of riding, I noticed a vibration in the pedal on the pedal with the exhaust side. I was getting a little bit of vibration through to my foot, so I would probably put like a rubber grip on this and not just leave the bare metal on there, but personal preference. It can also depend on the shoes that you're wearing. I am wearing the CD lay boots, I believe, so they are actual like race boots. I don't think this bike really releases a lot of engine heat. I'm not feeling too cooked. Seems to be pretty well managed. Is this the neutral that nobody can find now? I didn't try their Y Connect. You can have maps, you can hook up your phone to this thing and it can give you directions and display everything. If you have a cardo on your helmet, you can also hook it up to your cardo and get like spoken directions just like you would if you had your phone hooked up to it. Thank God for lane splitting. I see why it's legal in California, because being stuck in this heat would be absolutely horrible. I'll meet you guys back up at the hotel. Welcome back. We have two beautiful machines, the R7 and the MT07, but the focus today is the R7. Overall bang for your buck, I would give this like, honestly, maybe like an 8. It's $9,400. Only $200 more than the previous year, but as a trade-off, you're getting an entire electronics package, so I think kind of well worth the $200 upgrade. Worth it alone for the bi-directional quick shifter and cruise control, let's be honest. You have ride-by-wire now, so you have a total of 8 different modes. You have 4, like a range, street, sport, and a custom one you can set up, and then 4 separate track modes aside from that. So when I first reviewed this back in 2021, I was looking for modes on it. I'm so happy. I don't even know, do I have modes on this thing? It doesn't seem like I do. And now, holy modes, you have all the modes imaginable, so many different customizable things. Sport, street, rain are fixed, you can't customize them. Track 1 through 4 allows you to turn off ABS. Yamaha calls them inertial measurement unit electronics. You've got traction control, you've got slide control, you've got lift control, you have brake control, you have the up and down bidirectional quick shifter, you have engine brake management, a back slip regulator, and launch control. I didn't test that feature, but for anybody that's interested, also available. If you're wondering if this is set up to be a track ready machine, it absolutely is, and is also designed to be a street rider friendly machine if you want to use it in that way. A lot of people like to hate on the R7 for what it's not, and I don't think they fully appreciate what it is, which is an actual comfortable sport bike that you can carve up the canyons with and actually take to the track. I thought the suspension felt great on it, to be honest. I didn't feel like I was sitting on top of it. I felt like I was well within the suspension. It is adjustable. You have KYB inverted front forks, adjustable compression, rebound, and preload. You've got the KYB rear shock. You've got an overall seat height that it's not the shortest, but it's also surprisingly not super tall. And because the foot pegs aren't in the way and I can get my feet, close to the bike, I don't feel like I was struggling, even with, these regular shoes where I don't really have a hidden heel or anything like I did the first time I rode this bike. It was like 3-inch hidden heel in my sneakers. Didn't have that this time and still felt pretty good. I was tippy-toeing as a 5'4" rider, but that's kind of to be expected. If you want something a little lower to the ground, you might want to go for the R3 instead if you're a beginner. Speaking of the R3, I feel like a lot of people that are buying this bike are probably going to be
R3 riders that are trying to upgrade to something more sporty, or maybe some people that have the MT-03 that are trying to get up to something more sporty and more powerful, I think it's a great jump to do. Even if you're trying to jump on this bike as a beginner rider, I think you can now, assuming that you're not a beginner rider who's also short, then maybe you want to stick to something that you can have more of your foot on the ground. But because you have all these different modes now, I would just say you can keep it in rain mode for a while until you get used to the power and what to do with it, and then you can move it into road mode. Keep it there for a while, or street mode. And then, you know, if you want to take it to the track, then put it in sport mode or set up custom track modes. I think this is my favorite colorway out of the 4 different options that they have. There's a black one, blue one, the anniversary edition, red and white one, and then Breaker Cyan Raven, which looks like straight out of a comic book for me. I think this is one of the punchier, cooler colorways, so love how it looks. I think if you had both of these two in your garage, the MT-07 and the R7, that would be quite the lineup. They are sharing the same engine, so it's the same CP2 engine. Nothing has changed there, except obviously they're tuned differently. Peak torque is going to be 7,500 on the R7. The R7 is its own beast that I would say is pretty track ready as is. Maybe, you know, throw a different pipe on there, but even the stock exhaust sounds not bad at all. I think out of all the manufacturers, sounds probably the best. Does it still live up to the hype? Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!